Okay, so have you ever, like, put your foot in your mouth dating?
I definitely have. Like that time, I told this woman she had interesting shoes,
Hmm.
and I thought I was being complimentary, but let's just say she did not take it that way. So we're going to
Oh.
try to avoid those situations today. We're doing a deep dive on misconceptions men have about women. We've got a bunch of articles here to pick apart.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like men and women are speaking completely different languages, but a lot of the time it's just a matter of understanding where the other person is coming from.
Totally, and that's what we're hoping to do today. So first up, we have this piece from top10.com. 10 misconceptions men have about what women are looking for. And right off the bat, they're calling out a big one. Not every woman is after a free meal. Which, come on, guys, it's 2024.
Yeah.
But it is interesting how this stereotype persists, right? Like,
Yeah.
is it really about the money, or is it more about what it represents? This whole idea of men being the providers. It goes way back.
Yeah, it's like that outdated script is still playing in the background for some people. And speaking of outdated scripts, this article also tackles the whole ring in a white picket fence fantasy. Because, newsflash, not all women dream of being a fairy tale princess.
Exactly. And assuming they do is a one-way ticket to Misconception City. The key takeaway here is everyone is different with their own wants and needs, and the only way to know what those are is to actually, talk to each other.
Right, communication. It's so simple, but so important. Instead of trying to guess what she wants, just ask.
Couldn't agree more, which is a perfect segue to our next article from the Sun magazine, How Men See Women, How Women See Men.
Okay, so this one's a little different. It's a compilation of personal letters from both men and women, sharing their honest thoughts about how they perceive each other. And wow, some of these are intense. Like, there's this one letter from a woman, Louise Harris, talking about being constantly harassed while walking alone in New Orleans. And it really hit me because it highlights the different realities men and women face.
Absolutely. Her story really underscores how societal expectations and personal safety can intersect, especially for women. It's not always easy to grasp unless you've lived it.
No, it's not. And then there's this line from a letter by David Searles that really threw me for a loop. He says, I think women are tight with the power of beauty, like the universe, before the Big Bang.
Hmm. Yeah, that one's definitely a head scratcher. I mean, it's kind of poetic, but also a little, I don't know, objectifying.
Yeah, it's like, is that a compliment or...
Hmm.
It's definitely a statement that could be interpreted in many ways. And it goes to show how even with the best intentions, our words can sometimes miss the mark.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder to be mindful of the language we use and how it might be perceived.
For sure. So moving on, we have an article with the title that's sure to turn some heads. Why Men Will Never Understand Women from Millennial Mouth. I'm a little scared. Are we about to enter the Twilight Zone?
Haha, not quite. The title is definitely provocative, but the article itself is actually pretty insightful. It uses this clever analogy about communication styles.
Oh, right, the whole men are fixers with tool belts thing. It's funny because it's so true. Like, we just want to swoop in and fix everything.
And while that's great for, fixing a leaky faucet, it doesn't always work so well in relationships because sometimes what your partner really needs is just to be heard and validated.
Yeah, not to be fixed.
Exactly.
So next time you see your partner struggling, maybe put down the imaginary toolbox and just, listen.
Yes. Sometimes the best tool in the shed is a listening ear.
I like that. So we've talked about communication breakdowns and outdated stereotypes, but now let's get some practical advice. This article from Impactus.org, Top 5 Things Women Wish Men Knew, is all about building strong, healthier relationships. And you know what they emphasize? Having regular, non-logistical conversations, like just 15 minutes a day to connect on a deeper level.
Which, let's be real, can be harder than it sounds in our busy lives. But those little moments of connection, they really add up.
They do. They create that foundation of intimacy and trust that every relationship needs. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? About feeling seen and heard by your partner.
Absolutely. It's those small, everyday gestures that often mean the most.
It really is the little things, huh? Creating that space to really connect with your partner.
It is, and our next article dives into that a bit more, I think. It's from Glamour. 12 Things Women Wish Men Understood.
Oh, okay. This one sounds juicy.
It's definitely got some interesting insights, let's say.
Hit us with it.
Well, writer Zara Barnes, she talks about this whole thing with how long it takes women to get ready.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And she's like, the struggle with the cat eye is real.
Okay, I will admit I don't know what that means, but I believe her.
Right. But it's a good point. Like, men and women often have different priorities when it comes to, I don't know, appearance and stuff.
Mm.
And that's okay. But it's important to, like, acknowledge those differences.
Totally. Instead of getting all bent out of shape because your partner takes an extra hour to get ready
Yeah.
or, whatever the thing is.
Exactly. A little bit of understanding and patience goes a long way
For sure.
because at the end of the day, it's not about, like, winning or being right.
Mm.
It's about building a strong and healthy relationship, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that takes work and communication and a willingness to see things from the other person's perspective.
Well said. So, for everyone listening, we want to hear from you. What really resonated with you from these articles? Was there a particular misconception that stood out to you?
I'm always curious to know what lands with people.
Me too, because everyone brings their own experiences and biases to the table.
Oh, absolutely. And acknowledging those differences is so important.
It is. It's what makes these conversations so much richer and more meaningful.
Couldn't agree more.
It's like they say, right? The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
So true. And especially when it comes to relationships.
Right. Like, we could talk about this stuff for days and still only scratch the surface.
Absolutely. Every relationship is its own unique puzzle.
It really is. But hey, that's part of what makes it so interesting,
For
right?
sure. Keeps things exciting.
Exactly. So as we wrap up here, what are your big takeaways? What really stuck with you from all these articles?
Hmm. Well, I think the biggest thing for me is just the importance of communication, again, and like really listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Yeah, that's huge. Putting down the metaphorical toolbox, remembering not every problem needs a solution.
Totally. Sometimes people just need a vent.
100%. And, along those lines, I was also really struck by how important it is to understand where your partner is coming from, like their experiences, their background, all of that shapes how they see the world.
Absolutely. And that's not always going to be the same as how you see the world.
Right. And that's okay. In
Yeah.
fact, it's what makes relationships so interesting.
Exactly. It's about embracing those differences and learning from each other.
I love that. So, to everyone listening, as you navigate the wild world of dating, remember, communication is key, empathy is crucial, and a little bit of humor never hurts either.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up. Until next time, happy dating.